UFC 271, Adesanya versus Whittaker 2. Full card predictions and the betting breakdown. Fun card this weekend. Looking forward to talking about each of these matchups. Guys, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure to share the video as well. And let's get right into it. First fight of the night, it is Jeremiah Wells versus Blood Diamond Mike Mathetha. Fun matchup here. Blood Diamond's debut. He's Adesanya's teammate. Adesanya on his own channel did a video with Blood Diamond to give you guys a little insight of who he is. Now, the pick, I will tell you, it's going to be Jeremiah Wells. Blood Diamond is inexperienced in MMA. 3-0. Isn't like he's been fighting super actively, like 3 fights, in the past year. It's been over periods of time. And now you're fighting Jeremiah Wells, who has grinded for years to get to the UFC. And he had an impressive knockout win over Warley Alves. But look at this here. 4 years ago was the debut. 3 years ago, the second fight. And then a year and 11 months ago, his most recent bout. That's too long of layoffs for mixed martial arts. I believe that he's developing a good skill set. And I mean, he does have a good kickboxing base, over 100 fights. His stand-up game is very unique. He's got his own flow to it, a little bit awkward, I would truly say. Will attack with pressure and hands. But there's openings. Jeremiah Wells may not be at the same level of pure kickboxing in a ring, but in mixed martial arts, Jeremiah Wells' stand-up is dangerous. He's an absolute powerhouse striker. Physically strong guy, powerful left hook, followed by a death straight. I feel like his ground game is going to be something that we might see on display as well here. Threatening Diamond with the takedowns. I like Jeremiah Wells all day in this matchup. I will predict that he's going to knock Blood Diamond out in the second round. I could even see it on the feet, especially if he has Blood Diamond fearing his takedown attempts. I'm all over Wells here. I'm on him winning, and I do think he's going to get the stoppage. Of course, Blood Diamond's hype is real. He does seem like a really good dude. It's real on the stand-up. But as far as his overall MMA game, too many question marks. Way too many question marks. Now, looking at the lines for this one, Wells strong favorite, about minus 220. Blood Diamond plus 185. I got Jeremiah Wells. I'm picking him by KO too. I think he's going to put Blood Diamond to sleep, leaning towards that second round. Should be a fun fight to start off UFC 271. Next fight. Douglas Silva Andrade versus Sergey Morozov. I like this fight. Silva, I do believe, is live here as a dog, but I'm on the opposite side. I think Morozov technically is superior. You look at his game, he mixes in his striking and wrestling at a pretty solid level. Andrade has death power. I mean, he's a super heavy hitter for a guy in the bantamweight division. Had a big knockout in his last fight. But this matchup's very different. I feel like Morozov might also have a bit of a speed advantage striking. He's more mobile on the feet too. I think Sergey Morozov mixing in some wrestling, landing some strikes, avoiding the big power shots of Douglas Silva Andrade. I think Sergey Morozov goes out there, puts on a decent performance, gets himself a hard-fought decision win, but there's always the possibility that Andrade lands a serious power shot. I mean, he's built like a freight train for this 135-pound division, but I think Morozov eats what's coming at him, doesn't get hit, too much, nothing clean, flush that's going to put him down, and I think Morozov, over the 3 rounds, mixing in some wrestling, gets a win by unanimous decision. Looking towards the lines here, minus 205 Morozov, you're looking at about plus 180, plus 175 for Douglas Silva Andrade, and I am on the Morozov side. Andrade might have some value on that knockout prop bet, which there's always a chance, but I don't think super likely here. I like the Kazakhstani fighter, Sergey Morozov, to keep the Kazakhstani win streak going after Shavkat Rakhmonov last week. Next fight, Jacob Malkoun, AJ Dobson. Malkoun had an impressive win in the last one. I have to just shout him out right away, beating Abdul Razak Al Hassan after the fight before that, getting trashed in 18 seconds by Phil Hawes. Granted, I am on AJ Dobson here. He is a heavy puncher who comes to fight bad intentions. You look back on that Contender Series fight, he threw a little bit of caution to the wind and went for the kill. He reminds me a bit of like a less technical version of Jared Cannonier, but that doesn't mean he's not good. He's developing. He has 6 pro bouts, so I really feel like there's a pretty high ceiling for AJ Dobson. I expect the stand-up game to be on display. Malkoun showed wrestling in the Al Hassan fight. Does he look to wrestle here? I believe so. He'll mix in a little more striking, I believe, with Dobson than he did with Al Hassan. I feel like Dobson defends the takedowns. Also, look at the stats, right? Size differential, I think, is a factor here. 5'9" to 6'1", range leaning Dobson. Power, I think, lean Dobson. I feel like Dobson can find a way to touch that chin and put Malkoun down. I'm liking AJ Dobson by knockout second round here against Malkoun. Good debut opportunity. I like Dobson off the Contender Series. Seems like a good dude, and I'm a fan of the style he comes to fight. And Malkoun, I do think will expect it. I'm expecting wrestling attempts, but I believe Dobson's takedown defense holds up here, and he gets himself a big UFC knockout win in his debut. The odds are pick'ems. -110, -110. I'm on the Dobson side. I could understand, people being more towards Malkoun, but I like AJ Dobson in this spot. Middleweight debut for him. Next fight of the night. Carlos Ulberg versus Fabio Cherant. Good matchup of light heavyweights, strikers. Both actually pretty good strikers. Ulberg, very good striker. I'm picking Ulberg to win the fight. He had a disappointing debut. He fought Kennedy Zachuku, and he blew his wad trying to get out Zachuku in the first round. Didn't happen. Zachuku ate his shots, was still hurt badly, but then found a way to sleep a tired Carlos Ulberg. I believe there will be more patience on the Ulberg side this time around. I love the stand-up game. I think he has like a really special skill set there. Extremely explosive, well-techniqued shots. Like, it's pure technique. It's technical. It's precise. The kicks are nice. He'll mix in the punches and kicks at a high rate. Super fast body kicks that you hear. They're with bad intentions. On the opposite side, Fabio Cherant is a good striker in his own right. Tricky southpaw, rangy style. Hasn't been training MMA that long, but has definitely developed a high-level game in that period to now get into the UFC. I like the fast, straight left hand from the southpaw, but I think Ulberg just finds the chin here. Cherant was badly knocked out by Knight in the last one. Prior to that, badly beaten by Alonzo Menfield. I think that Carlos Ulberg should be able to find the holes in the stand-up game and get himself his first win in the UFC. I still think he's a prospect to keep an eye on. Even though he's 31, it's light heavyweight, and he's only got 4 pro bouts. Cherant is a fun test for him here, but I'm going Ulberg by KO. I could see it throughout any point of this fight. I'm expecting more patience from Ulberg. That is what's needed, in my opinion, for him to be successful now in this UFC sophomore appearance. Both guys, though, looking for their first wins in the octagon. On the side of Ulberg, he's about a -195 favorite. Cherant +220. I like Ulberg to get the win, and I am liking it by KO over Fabio Cherant. Intriguing light heavyweight matchup between prospects. Next fight of the night. Alexander Hernandez versus Renato Moicano. Lightweight battle here. Alexander Hernandez taking on a tricky Renato Moicano. I'll be honest, I'm on the Moicano side. That's the pick in this spot. Hernandez, southpaw, pretty well-rounded guy, good athlete, good movement, explosive, quick, brings some KO power and will start fast. I don't think he overwhelms Renato Moicano early and is able to starch him, put him out of there. I feel like you'll see Moicano defend the striking attacks, look towards working in takedowns. I don't think Hernandez will be easy to get to the floor, but I feel like Moicano will eventually find his way on top. I think it's a pretty competitive bout. Moicano, I think, could be lacking in the striking department a bit compared to Hernandez. I do think there's going to be strikes landed. It's can Moicano land the takedown? I know the jiu-jitsu of Moicano is superior. I believe the wrestling will be good enough to get him down, and then he'll be able to work his game from there. I'm thinking we're looking at 3 rounds of work here between one guy, Hernandez, which will probably be more so trying to keep it on the feet, looking for the KO, and then Moicano trying to get it to the mat and work the grappling game. Still, though, Moicano does have a competent Muay Thai skill set striking, but that's not his forte, and he has been knocked out at featherweight in the past, and even at this lightweight division. Rafael Fiziev put him out. Not the same level with Alexander Hernandez, though, and that's why I like Moicano to get the win in this one by a decision. Looking towards the betting side, Moicano is a favorite. He's nearly -170. Alexander Hernandez around +155. I like Renato Moicano win by decision, but I definitely understand people towards that Hernandez side. He is a tricky prospect, definitely improving young guy as well, not even 30 years of age. Next fight of the night. Ronnie Lawrence, Mana Martinez, bantamweight prospect battle. Both guys 1-0 in the UFC. Ronnie Lawrence has a game to keep an eye on. He did not wrestle in high school or college, and he has nasty MMA wrestling. I like Ronnie Lawrence to win here, but that's not to disrespect Mana Martinez. He is a dangerous striker. He's got a patient pressure style. He rips good low kicks. He switches up his stances. He has nice combination strikes. Himself, he can mix in his wrestling too. Don't think it's at the same level of Lawrence here. Lawrence definitely has an athleticism edge, speed edge. I feel he also has a technical striking edge. I feel like Mana Martinez will have his fair share of moments, but I think Lawrence will threaten with the takedown, more so stifling the stand-up game of Martinez a bit. I think Lawrence goes out there, wins a decision. I like him, Ronnie Lawrence, unanimous decision to beat Mana Martinez, but I do think Mana will bring it, and the lines are incorrect in this spot because they're really they're underwhelming towards the Mana side. I don't think he's a plus 250 dog. Looking at Lawrence, minus 275, there's not enough proven to put that price tag on Ronnie Lawrence, in my opinion. But I think he's good, and I think he wins. Would love to see it at minus 125 to plus 135. That would be realistically a money line play that I'd be all over. I like Lawrence for the win. He's going to beat Mana Martinez, and I do believe he does so by decision, but the odds are wrong in this one. Next fight of the night. William Nightmare Knight versus Maxim Grishin, battle of the light heavyweights. This is a big opportunity for Knight. He's got some good things going in the UFC now. Just beat Alonzo Menfield. That's a huge win. Prior to that, he had the big knockout of Fabio Cherant. Before that, did take an L to Da-Un Jung. He now takes on Maxim Grishin, who's going to be a hard matchup for him. But one thing to know, Grishin likes to strike for the majority. Does decent work against the cage. But Knight can find his way up and out of bad positions, I feel, with the physical strength against Grishin. I'm going with William Knight. I think that he's going to have the power to hurt Grishin, potentially even get a stoppage, but I could also see it going long here. If Knight touches the chin, there's serious damage done. Grishin surely has a path to victory, and that's maintaining top control for pretty much the whole fight. I think striking with Knight would potentially be a mistake for Grishin. Yes, he was able to sit in there with Dustin Jacoby, who's a pretty high-level, pure kickboxer, but this is MMA striking, and Knight has that one-touch KO power you see from some of the freaks in different weight classes. Knight is one of those guys. Maybe not as technically sound as Grishin, but I believe he's going to find the chin. I think he's a valuable dog, especially if you're playing it for the KO prop. Even just plus money, it's not bad either. He's got momentum on his side. I like William Knight for the win as an underdog. He's sitting at plus 150. Grishin, opposite side, minus 150. I am on the Nightmare side. William Knight for the win, and I do think he's going to get a knockout. The next fight of the night. Alex Perez versus Matt Schnell. Flyweight division battle that I like a lot here. Alex Perez is good, man. He's my pick in this fight. And he's been my pick when I've broken this fight down before. It's been canceled a few times and we haven't gotten to see it yet. Perez looking to bounce back from that Figueiredo loss, but there's still things to like there. I mean, landed a takedown, put some good pressure on the champion of the world. Alex Perez can strike. Low kicks, nasty. You look at his fight with Jussier Formiga. Destroyed him in one round with kicks to the legs. Broke that leg down. I believe he'll be attacking Schnell's legs here. I think he'll also mix in the wrestling. I feel like Perez will be on his game, potentially getting a stoppage. If you look at Matt Schnell, he's sometimes down to bang and will get into scraps. Pantoja was able to put him to sleep. Also, most recently, he lost to Rogerio Bontarin. Schnell's a pretty quick striker. He's got good movement. He's got that unique flow of a style. He looks left, right, and then he attacks. I think Alex Perez will be all over him with the leg kicks, and he also mixes in the wrestling. I believe he'll land the takedowns when it's needed, and I also think he can find the chin potentially here. Leaning towards KO, but also could definitely see it going 3 with Perez winning a unanimous decision. I'm on the Alex Perez side here, but it's one of those bets that value just isn't there. It's sitting at nearly minus 370. Plus side for Matt Schnell, plus 325. I don't see Schnell coming through as a dog. I see Perez getting the win, but the value of the money line play just really isn't good. But I'm excited to see Alex Perez put on a display here. I still think he's a good fighter in flyweight. with a win here, depending on what they're doing with the upper echelon of the weight class with Figueiredo and Moreno, maybe Perez finds himself in a fight with the former champion Brandon Moreno with the win. So Alex Perez to get it done. I predict he beats Matt Schnell. Next fight of the night. Roxanne Modafferi, this is her farewell fight, takes on Casey O'Neill. I'll be picking Casey O'Neill here, but of course, a part of me has to root for the OG Roxy, but I'm not going to pick her to win. I don't think she has the tools to beat this young prospect in Casey O'Neill. O'Neill's shown a pretty decent stand-up game, also has solid wrestling, heavy top pressure and control. I feel like in the clinch, she's going to have strength advantages and technical edges. From the bottom, Roxanne is not an easy girl to just beat up. I believe she'll be active from her back, potentially throwing up submission attempts. On the feet, Roxy's a little awkward as always, but the ground I think is really where she's going to shine. She'll bring the fight and she's going to give it her all. I suggest that we're going to see Roxy give it 100 until the very end, because this is the last go for her. This is a lot of fights in her career. I mean, if you include the tough fights, she has a ton of matches, but 25-19. So like that's a ton of experience at the pro level. Casey O'Neill on the opposite side, only 8-0, but looks like a real prospect at 125 to watch. I like O'Neill to win a decision over Roxanne Modafferi here. Disappointing to see the OG potentially go out on a 3-fight losing streak, but I'm not on the side of her this week. Now, looking at the betting for this fight, Roxanne Modafferi plus nearly 300. Casey O'Neill minus 340. I like the strong favorite, but there's no value on the line. Casey O'Neill for the win. I'd understand people on the Roxy bet side. Got to throw down for her on the farewell fight. Of course, there's a bit of a chance there, but I like Casey O'Neill in this spot. Next fight is the featured prelim. Andrei the Pitbull Arlovski versus Jared Vanderaa. Vanderaa is known to be a pretty dangerous striker. Andrei Arlovski, technical striking. He's able to outpoint guys now. I'm picking Andrei Arlovski at 43 years of age to beat the 29-year-old Jared Vanderaa. Arlovski at this point is an MMA legend. He's been on a roll. I mean, he was getting written off as glass jaw. He's not getting put down lately, especially when he fights guys like outside of the upper echelon. Of course, he loses to Tom Aspinall, gets submitted in that fight. Rosenstruik knocked him out in, 29 seconds, several years back. This matchup, I think Arlovski outpoints Jared Vanderaa. Vandeera's hands definitely have power, and he's going to be able to beat guys without the technical precision of an Arlovski. I think Arlovski's boxing will be on display. He has the boxing edge by a fair margin here. Vanderaa has some heavy-ass kicks. He's a big dude. Inside of the clinch, he's strong. He actually throws a really nasty knee right up the center. Big heavyweight, too. Comes in the upper limit, 265, and he's 6'4". Andrei Arlovski, though, I still think outpoints him technically, gets the win. I don't see the punching power of Vanderaa as a valuable threat to Arlovski, and I also don't see Vanderaa going out there out-wrestling Arlovski, putting him on the ground, winning a decision. I see Andrei Arlovski outpointing Vanderaa over the 3 rounds, win by a unanimous decision for the OG, who's still doing his thing at 43. Arlovski, minus 125. Vanderaa, plus 145. I like the slight money favorite, Andrei Arlovski, to beat Jared Vanderaa in the featured prelim of the night. Next, it is our main card. If you guys haven't yet, make sure to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. It's Nasrat Haqparast and Bobby King Green. I am on the Bobby King Green side here. He looked fantastic against Al Iaquinta. Has taken losses, but normally they're pretty damn close. Bobby Green can strike. Super tricky guy to deal with. Comfortable out of both stances. Really confident. The hands are low. The punches are from the hips. The reflexes are off the charts. Nasrat Haqparast, more of your typical skilled striking style. He's still a talented prospect, fights out of the southpaw stance, has a nice kickboxing game, decent looping punches, and really likes to throw that overhand left. Grappling, I don't think will be a huge factor of this fight, and even if Nasrat was to try and initiate some, I see Bobby Green stifling the takedown attempts. I think Green outpoints Nasrat Haqparast over the 3 rounds here. He got a big knockout in the last one against Al Iaquinta. I don't suggest we're going to see that here with Nasrat Haqparast. I like Bobby Green, win by a unanimous decision. I think the boxing will be on display. Of course, the kicks will be in the game as well. The reflexes will be on. The way he evades shots is fantastic, and I really like Bobby Green. He gets it done. He's going to beat Nasrat Haqparast. Bobby Green is a favorite coming into this one, sitting at minus 140 to plus 140. Nasrat Haqparast. I like the slight money towards the green side. I think he gets it done and puts on an impressive win against a very tough prospect, Nasrat Haqparast. Next fight on this main card, Kyler Phillips versus Marcelo Rojo. I really like Kyler Phillips. Even though he lost that fight to Raulian Paiva, I thought it should have been a draw. Rojo on the opposite side of him, decent fighting guy, tough. I'm going on the side of Kyler Phillips for the pick. I think that's fairly obvious. The stand-up game of Rojo, though, it really isn't bad. He's comfortable out of orthodox and southpaw, puts a patient pressure style on his opponents. Pretty well-timed takedowns when he needs them. His overhands are pretty slick. On the opposite side, Kyler Phillips, though, I just think he's a level above striking. He's the Matrix for a reason. The guy has a unique attack, a wide array of skills, and has a lot of shots that he's going to be able to land here. He's explosive. I feel like he's definitely going to be light on his feet, moving a lot, landing counter strikes as Rojo tries to close distance with the more traditionalist kickboxing style. He needs to avenge that, or rather, not avenge, but he needs to bounce back from the loss to Raulian Paiva. I mean, maybe he'll get a chance to avenge it in a rematch, but the way Paiva was just knocked out, probably not if Phillips gets it done here. I expect Phillips to put it on Rojo. I think he should get the stoppage here. I'm liking Kyler Phillips with the late stoppage, second or third round. I think he's going to put Marcelo Rojo out in this matchup, and that's what he needs for his career. The hype is still real on this kid. I don't think we should write him off this yet. Kind of gassed himself in that Paiva fight. Don't go too crazy for the stoppage, and I think Phillips all day picks apart, counter strikes, and leads the dance too at points and knocks out Marcelo Rojo. Looking at the lines in this one, Kyler Phillips is huge favorite, minus 345. Marcelo Rojo, plus 335. There's no value on betting the Phillips side unless you're really parlaying him up with multiple pieces, but I like him to win. I expect him to get it done, and I like him by KO. I think he's putting Marcelo Rojo out in this fight. Very fun matchup. Next fight of the night is our featured bout. Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannonier versus Derek Brunson. I'm jumping on the Brunson side. Underdog Brunson. If this was a 5-round fight, that's different. Yeah, I'm feeling like I wish we could see this as a 5-round fight because it's essentially the number one contender matchup for the middleweight division. Iffy, at whoever wins that main event, but Derek Brunson, he's definitely in the running, as is Cannonier. Derek Brunson's wrestling I see as a clear advantage here. Kelvin Gastelum gave Cannonier a difficult fight over the 5 rounds. I suggest Brunson is going to work the takedown game consistently. Of course, Cannonier will have moments striking. He's super explosive, dangerous guy on the feet. I mean, if he touches your chin, he's going to hurt you. Brunson has been knocked out in the past, but has changed his game. Also, Brunson being a southpaw, I think that'll give a little bit of trouble to Cannonier, and Gastelum, also a southpaw, gave him some trouble. Brunson has shown some good resiliency. He can come on late. I really feel like he's not going to get over aggressive early, but will find the takedowns. That's his best bet here. Standing with Jared Cannonier and trading gets dangerous for Brunson, but I feel like he'll be confident enough to strike a bit and then time those takedowns at the right moments. I see him grinding on Jared Cannonier. I like Derek Brunson win by a decision. I am on the underdog Brunson in this fight. Looking at the lines for this one, Brunson is plus 165, Cannonier minus 170. It's a great matchup. Excited to see it. Brunson's title shot would depend on the main event, and as would Cannonier if he is able to get through it and pulls off the win. But I'm on the Brunson side. I'm picking him to get it done. Great career resurgence, training at Sanford MMA. He's my guy. Derek Brunson, win, decision. Co-main event. Absolute chaos co-main event, in my opinion. You have Derek the Black Beast Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa. What a heavyweight scrap. Great one to put together, especially both guys fighting just over a month ago each. I like Derek Lewis in this fight. It's very hard for me to pick against him. I love my man Tuivasa. Shout out to him. He's a savage. But I feel like Derek Lewis will find a way to land the death punch. Now, Tai Tuivasa has shown a growing and evolving skill set each time we see him fight. He's a heavy-handed striker, but also very good movement for a guy that weighs 265 pounds. Chops the low kicks beautifully, has power in his hands in his own right, comes in with heavy pressure, will sometimes wear against opponents against the cage and then get the knockout. I look at that Augusto Sakai fight most recently, but you're not going to be able to do that to Derek Lewis. Lewis is a physically strong guy that's like specimen level. absolute power. You get too close to him, you get touched, you go out. You look at the Dawkins fight, he was able to just hunt him down, land the big shots against the cage, and that's it. That's what Derek Lewis does to essentially everyone. He put out Curtis Blades with one uppercut. Derek Lewis has that true touch of death. I suggest he's going to win this fight, and I feel like he's going to knock Tai Tuivasa out in the first round. I feel like Tai maybe wants to look for takedowns here, but that could be a mistake too. Derek Lewis could land a big bomb, but knowing Tai, he probably wants to bang and get the knockout on Lewis. I feel like he is going to put himself in a bad spot. He's going to get caught and put out cold in one round. I like Derek Lewis. And it's interesting because if now Lewis wins, Francis Ngannou champion, who knows with the John Jones-Stipe situation, Derek Lewis could still find himself in a title shot, and maybe the rematch with Ngannou finally does happen, because that will be too straight for Derek Lewis. And if he gets two impressive knockouts in a row, the heavyweight division is definitely a division where you could jump right into that title picture, though Ngannou has said he's going to be out for like 9 months minimum. So who knows? We'll see what happens. I like Derek Lewis for the win. I'm picking him to knock Tai Tuivasa out. The odds minus 175, best value on the Lewis side. Tuivasa about plus 160. I am on the Black Beast, Derek Lewis, and I do think he's getting that knockout in the first. Main event of the evening. Guys, make sure to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And let's talk about it. It's Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker 2. The rematch between these two. Adesanya destroyed him in the first fight, and I will be picking Adesanya again in this matchup. But Robert Whittaker needs to come with a different game plan, and I'm telling you guys, I believe he will. Little bit less over-aggressive. You look at that first fight, he was hunting for power strikes, big overhands, huge kicks from way out of range. Adesanya controlled range so beautifully in that first fight, counter-struck amazingly, landed the knockout shot in the first round right at the end. Obviously, the time ran out. Whittaker survived, and then he gets knocked out in the second round. Adesanya can find that chin, I believe, again here. Elite class striking is Israel Adesanya. I would call him the master class. Amazing range management, excellent feints. He's super evasive. He's got great low kicks. He's really got great kicks everywhere. But you know what? I will say this. Robert Whittaker has an underrated ground game that I believe he should try to impose here. Try and find a way to take Adesanya down. A lot easier said than done. But if he can get Adesanya thinking striking, maybe he can time some takedowns. But what is he going to do from that top position? Even though Adesanya does have the one loss to Jan Blachowicz, it's not like he was getting beat up out there on the ground at all. Vettori did take him down in the last one. Couldn't do anything from the top position. I don't think Whittaker has that success either. I do love Whittaker's 1-2 right high kick combination that he throws, but Adesanya has seen that 100 times. I know Adesanya knows Whittaker well. I mean, they fought once before, and he's definitely seen every fight from him. I think Israel Adesanya will pick him apart again. More so competitive and a little longer than the last one. Because you know what? In that first round, Whittaker was competitive with his aggression, but it was over-aggression and really nothing was landing clean. But he did land a couple clean shots. I could see him landing some here. Not enough to do the damage and get Adesanya out of there. I think Israel Adesanya will put on a nice striking display. I think Robert Whittaker will have a couple moments, but it's going to be Adesanya clearly proving he is the better man once again and closing up this rivalry here. I'm going Adesanya knockout. I'm liking third or fourth round, but I'm really on the third round. I will be picking third round. Adesanya for the win. He is a big favorite as well, which is understandable because he's already beaten Robert Whittaker. Minus 250, Whittaker on the opposite side, plus 235. I am on Adesanya. I do love me some Robert Whittaker, so it's going to be a great matchup. May the best man win it, but I really do believe that man will be Israel Adesanya. Overall, UFC 271 is stacked. Definitely a card I'm looking forward to talking about more. We got more content dropping all week for this UFC 271 card, so make sure you keep it locked in right here at MMA Experts. Smash that like button, subscribe. Much love, guys. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.